Hello and welcome to my channel. You know, growing up as a kid, I really just enjoyed Star Trek because the stories were really neat and the characters were very relatable. You know, some of the other stuff, I didn't really understand how profound or controversial it was at times, you know, because I was just a little kid. Like, for example, the first interracial kiss that was aired on network TV was the one between Captain Kirk and Lieutenant Uhura. You know, to me, it was just like part of the story. And they also tackled other things that were very controversial at the time, like racism. You know, in the story, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, they discussed what was the consequence of racism and how it ultimately destroys a society. So today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating one of the characters from that show, Commissioner Bele. Well, I think today I'm going to start off a little differently. Many of you all have asked, how do I get the heads on the bodies? Well, here I have a salt vampire body that I've replaced the hands with gray hands. You know, some of you guys may have seen my Mugatu. I took the outfit from this and put it on my Mugatu. But you know what? It's not very difficult to get the heads on. Let's say that you have, let me take this Dr. McCoy apart. You know, you have a body which has this little stem. You know, if you're using the I guess the classic TV toys bodies, they already have the hole there, so you really don't have to do too much. But in this case, what you're going to have to do is remove this stem. Now, you can remove that stem a variety of ways. You can saw it with a hacksaw. You can cut it with diagonal cutters, which I think is the easiest way to do it. You can Dremel it. I don't know what you guys have available to you, but you know, once you get rid of that stem, there should be a little hole that's left over. Now, in Rachel Baker's video, what she did was she heated up a screw and she pushed it in there and got a good size hole. You know, whether you do that or you just drill the hole in there, it doesn't really matter. What you just want to do is you want to enlarge a hole so that you can get this little grinder thing in. I picked this up at, I think it was at Harbor Freight, I don't remember. But it's basically just a conical grinder, and what it does is it just enlarges holes and kind of like sands things down. And once you've established a hole there, it's pretty easy to stick it in there and get the right size diameter of the hole that you need to install your head. Then I take my rasper and I'm just going to enlarge the hole. Let me tighten that down. Hang on a sec. So you can see it's enlarged the hole quite nicely. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and I'm going to clean off all that extra plastic. You can see why I haven't really shown this before is because it's, you know, pretty dangerous. Some of you guys notice I get little cuts and stuff, and it's because I do crazy stuff like this. But you're just making sure that you get all of the plastic inside and out so that it makes a nice tight, I guess, base for your head. And I'm just cutting around the inside just to kind of clean it out a little bit. I don't know if you can see it in there. But yeah, I think that's good. Let me just clean the outside one more time. And let me test it and see how, I have this little peg here that I created for painting my heads. I just drilled a hole, and you know, most of the ones, especially from Living in the Past, just fit in there very nicely. So once I've gone that far, I'm almost to the edge of where I need to be. I might be able to push it in as is. Let me see. It looks like I'm gonna have to enlarge it just a tad. Okay, let me try it again. And kind of twist as you go. This guy's being especially difficult. I don't want to go too large because then it'll kind of flop around in there. So hopefully this has got it. Okay, just a little bit more. Make sure I clean it. That might be part of it too. There we go. Popped right in. And then I just kind of like work it until it kind of like spins freely. There you go. That's how I install it. You know, I don't know how you guys do it. Maybe you want to talk about it down in the comments below. But I'm going to go ahead and get to the next step. I'm going to go ahead and do the, I'm going to start the painting or prepping for the paint. Okay, for the next part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep the piece for painting. And I got my white base on there. And it's a white satin that I have. And I'm going to take some of my painter's tape and I'm going to cover part of his face that I don't want painted. If I remember correctly, it's the right hand side that's black, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start taping off his left side and I'm going to try to get it right down the middle. Now, as you're doing this, it's important to make sure that you don't have any gaps. There should be no place where the paint's going to seep through. And you've got to press it down on the face. Let me start at the top and work down. Maybe that might be easier. You know, I can always go back and I can touch things up if I make a mistake, but I'd rather not make a mistake. See how I'm pressing it into the all the little creases of the head, just to make sure that no paint bleeds through. You know, I debated whether or not to use spray paint, but I think the spray paint adds another variable that I really can't control. That fold on his nose is giving me some problems. Let me see if I can. Maybe I should start on the nose. There we go, I think I got it. Just make sure that you're pressing it down on the lips. Boy, this this tape is difficult to apply. You know what, I think I have too much, that's my problem. Okay, I think I have the tape where I want it. So let me go ahead and go to the next step. Now that I have the contours of his face laid out, I'm going to use my Abaddon Black. And it's not going to be a dry brush, but I'm going to take a lot of the paint off because I don't want it seeping into the recesses where it shouldn't. So I'm taking some of the paint off, and I'm going to brush away from the tape. That's not working. I'm just gonna go for broke here. I can always repaint it. I can spray it again if I need to. I'm just worried about this line. Once I have it established, I can go back and I can do the freehand part of it. But it's just this line that's critical. And I'm going to take off the tape almost immediately just to make sure that I got it. Getting a little bit on his neck. That's no big deal. Let's just wipe it off right now. All right, let's see if I was successful. Alright, so now that I got that done, I'm going to paint the rest of his head. Let me get some water on there. I wish I wouldn't have painted his eye. Try not to paint any more of it. Well, actually, yes, I do want to paint his eye. Because it was just the whites that you could see right in his pupil. I'll try not to put too much on the hair, just because I don't know what the darker color will do to the brown that I'm putting on there. So try to avoid all the other areas of the face except for the places that you want it to be black. Okay, so far so good. I'm going to do a free line here on the back, just because, you know, no one's going to really see the back. That looks pretty good right there. Well, what do you think? I'm going to let them dry, and I'm going to come back to him so I can get that eye. Maybe as the face is drying, I should paint his hair. So I'm going to use some brown paint that I have. It's called Bugbear Brown. I don't think it's available anymore. It's one of my Dungeons and Dragons paints, but you know, I think pretty much any brown will do. So let me clean my brush off and grab some of this brown paint. Yeah, the guy who played the Joker, was it Frank Gorshin? Was his name? Also played this character, Commissioner Bele. So I'm using a lighter shade of brown. Well, looks like I got a little on his ear. Maybe I can go back there with my white paint and fix that. I'm also going to do a wash on this, I think. You know, maybe Reikland's Flesh Shade. It'll give it like a reddish appearance. I think his hair was a little red. Not much. You know, I'd purchased this from Reliving the Past again a while ago, and I was just a little, I guess, hesitant to pull the trigger on painting this guy, just because, you know, that making that straight line seemed like it was going to be difficult. I had seen somebody on a YouTube channel create a what was the name of that? Deathstroke, and he had used spray paint, and you know, it looked good. A little bit of bled underneath it, but you know, overall it looked pretty cool. And that's what kind of gave me the idea to do this. I thought, well, that seems like something interesting. Might try it. And so I thought about the Cheron from the old Star Trek set from Mego, and I thought, yeah, I can do that too. So thought I'd try it. I really debated whether or not to use black. I even had some black. Well, I have some black spray paint, but I pulled it out thinking I might do it. But I think that paintbrush is the way to do it. You have a lot more control. So I'm just painting the hair as I usually do, starting at the scalp and moving back, you know, establishing all those little hairs so it looks a little natural. Trying to avoid the white ear. It looks like I'm not doing a very good job. I have to go back and touch that up. But I got some white paint, so no big deal. It's actually looking pretty good. I was wondering on this guy. Well, okay, I think I'm almost done. They're looking pretty good. I don't know. You know, once you get the tape down, this is not a hard figure to do, but getting the tape down in a, you know, in a straight line, I think is the most difficult process on this head, at least so far. I can't see anything else being any more difficult. Maybe the eyes. And again, if you get it in the ear, it's okay. You can go back and you can touch it up with your black paint. I mean, I'd rather not get it in the ear. If I can avoid it, I'm going to try. But you know, we all are human and we make mistakes. Oh, looking good. Maybe once I get the eyes painted, it'll look more like Frank Gorshin. You know, I'm usually very, very pleased with the sculpts that I get from Reliving the Past again. It does a great job providing not only the variety for Star Trek, but you know, they look like the characters are supposed to. So, let's see, I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna tackle the eye next. Be right back. As I was going along, I noticed I need some touch up on this ear, so I'm getting my white paint and I'm just coming behind the ear and doing the touch up where I just went a little too far with the brown paint. Nothing big. That looks good. So now I'm going to try to tackle the eye. It's very small, so, and he's kind of squinting. So I'm just doing the tip of my brush and I'm just going to go between the lids. It looks like I'm going to need a couple of coats on this just because of the black paint. Well, that's in the lids. It just looks smaller than the other eye. I guess it's just an optical illusion because this is full of white over here. Yeah, that's definitely in the lids. Okay, well, I'm gonna let that dry and then I'm gonna paint the blue. I got some blue here. It's a Citadel blue. It's a new paint that I picked up. It's called Aldor Guard Blue. So when I get back, I'm gonna try to do the blue eyes. I'm gonna go ahead and enlarge the white portion. Looks like I made a little bit of a mess. Let me see if I can clean that up real quick. If, you know, if worse comes to worse, I can always just paint a black line across the top. So this is a pretty easy figure as far as the eyes are concerned, I think. It's just trying to find the reference mark. I found the reference mark on this side, and I'm trying to establish the reference mark over here. But the eye over here, if I stay within the lids, it looks a little smaller than it should be. So there's the white. Let me see if I can get the blue in there. And again, I'm just starting in the middle and kind of like working up. Well, they look pretty even. I think I might have gotten that. And then I usually put a little white dot in there just to give it a little bit of life. I would like to put a black dot and a white dot, but those are small eyes. So let me just put the white dot. I think I got it. I'll try to put a little bit more white over here. It looks like it's maybe the black paint is darkening it. Oh, I think I bled into the blue paint. That's the problem. Try this again. There we go. What do you think? I think that the eyes are done. I'm gonna go ahead and take some of my my red Reichland's Flesh Shade. It's not really red, it's kind of like a brownish red. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use that for the, here's the Agrax Earth Shade. I don't think I'm gonna use that. Make sure I don't have the gloss. No, this is the regular stuff. Reichland's Flesh Shade. So I'm just gonna shake it up real good. And I'm gonna use my wider paintbrush to kind of like layer in those, I guess, layer in the wash into the recesses of the hair. So let's see how it's gonna look. See how that's providing a little bit, I guess, the illusion of texture in the hair and separating the strands. That's looking good. The rest of them, I think the rest of the head is going to be pretty bland because, you know, just the black and white paint. But at least I can make the hair look good, right? Yeah, that's looking great. That's providing that little bit of red. Yeah, that's really doing a good job for the hair. Okay, top of the head. And I think this guy's pretty much done. That was actually pretty easy. The hardest part, I think, is taping off the head. You know, making sure that it's even and that you filled in those gaps. Because if you have any gaps, you're going to get a little bit of bleed. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and spray the paint with that matte clear coat just to give it a more durable finish, to protect the paint job. And then it kind of also evens out things. I've noticed that it doesn't really provide a finish for it, but it just kind of like evens out the finishes. But yeah, that guy's pretty much done. Let's see how he looks once I get some clothes on him. But there wasn't really a lot to do on this guy, right? Just black and white on the head and then paint the hair. The eyes, I think, were the most difficult part. I think I got those. So let me let him dry, and then I'm going to cover him with my matte clear enamel and dress him up. Oh, I got him dressed, and he looks great, doesn't he? This was a really easy figure to do. I guess the most difficult part was actually just putting the tape down and getting the symmetry in his face between the black and the white. Everything else was relatively easy. The hair came out great. Let me show you close up. That Reichland's flesh shade gave you the reddish color that you needed and also defined the hair. So actually, came out great, better than I expected, really. The eyes were easy to paint too, because if you make a mistake, you can always block it out with the black or the white and start all over again. The outfit, not a hassle either. The shoes were from Classic TV Toys, along with the bodysuit and the silver belt. This piece right here is probably the only custom piece. It was actually a belt that belonged to my Piper, and I put a little snap on it. See that? It was a belt that belonged to my Piper, and I turned Piper into Nova, so I wasn't using her outfit with her belt. So I just went ahead and I cut it and put it on Belle as his collar, and it works out great for that purpose. So I hope you guys try Belle. It wasn't difficult to do at all. What I'd like to do going forward is I'd like you guys to send your pictures of customs that you've done as a result of this show. I'd like to hear some backstory as well, like things that you found maybe challenging to do, or things that you did differently that I didn't present in the video, but you did to kind of enhance your figures. Once I get enough of those together, I'm going to do a special show. So send your pictures and your comments to casualcrafter65@gmail.com. You can also find my email address in my About section on my page. So I hope to hear from you guys soon. I hope you guys are having fun with your Megos. I hope that you guys are doing these customizations. I know some of you guys are. I get feedback in the comments many times. So I'm really encouraged by that. That helps me continue on. So thank you guys very much. And until the next time we meet, take care. Bye-bye now.